It's 1:57 in the morning. April 1st, 2006, a young man named Brian Shaffer smiles at a security camera as he steps onto an escalator, heading up into the Ugly Tuna Saloon. It's a noisy, dimly lit bar tucked away on the second floor of a busy entertainment plaza in Columbus, Ohio. The camera captures this one fleeting moment, and then nothing. Brian Shaffer is never seen again. No footage ever shows him leaving the building. It's as if he simply vanished into thin air, right in the middle of a place packed with people and surrounded by cameras. This isn't just a missing person case. It's a puzzle that has baffled investigators and internet sleuths for nearly 2 decades. How can someone just disappear from a room with only one way in and one way out? Brian Shaffer was 27 years old, a second-year medical student at Ohio State University. By all accounts, he was smart, ambitious, and generally well-liked, though often described as soft-spoken and a bit reserved. He was also carrying a heavy weight. Just a few weeks earlier, his mother Renee had passed away from cancer. It was a devastating loss, one that friends say hit him much harder than he let on. He was trying to push through the grief, focusing on his studies and his future. The night he disappeared was supposed to be a simple celebration. Spring break had just started, and it was a chance to unwind before heading off on a trip he'd planned with his girlfriend, Alexis. He and a friend, William Florence, met up for dinner and a few drinks. They decided to do a little bar hopping downtown, eventually meeting up with another friend, Meredith Reed, who gave them a ride to the Arena District. Their final stop was the Ugly Tuna Saloon, a popular spot with college students. They arrived around 1:15 a.m. Surveillance footage from inside the bar shows Brian looking relaxed. He's seen chatting with his friends, laughing, and ordering drinks. At one point, he separates from his friends to talk to a couple of young women he seemed to know. Everything appeared perfectly normal. It was just another Friday night out for a group of students. But for Brian, this night was not just beginning, it was also ending. The timeline of Brian's last known moments is incredibly tight and maddeningly specific. At around 1:55 a.m., he's seen on camera near the bar's only public entrance, talking to 2 young women. His friend William briefly leaves the group to go downstairs, expecting Brian to still be there when he gets back. His other friend Meredith also gets separated from him in the crowd. Within just a few minutes, Brian vanishes. The Ugly Tuna Saloon was a unique space. It was on the second story of a complex, and the only public way in or out was a single, long escalator. That escalator, both at the top and the bottom, was monitored by a security camera. Investigators pored over the footage from that night, frame by painstaking frame. They see Brian go up the escalator at 1:15 a.m. They see his friends and the other patrons leave when the bar closes at 2 a.m., but they never, ever see Brian come back down. When the bar closed, Brian's friends couldn't find him. They waited outside, assuming he'd emerge eventually, but he never did. They called his phone repeatedly, but it went straight to voicemail. At first, they figured he'd maybe walked home or gone to another friend's place without telling them. But as the hours turned into a day, and then 2, a sense of dread began to set in. His car was still parked at his apartment. His phone was never used again. His credit cards and bank account were left completely untouched. The digital and financial trail that we all leave behind simply stopped cold at 1:57 a.m. The police launched a massive investigation. They interviewed over 100 people who were at the bar that night. Many remembered seeing Brian, but no one saw anything unusual or alarming. No fights, no arguments, no signs of distress. They brought in search dogs, who were able to trace Brian's scent through the bar and right up to the edge of the entryway. And then, the trail went dead, right there. It was as if he stepped into another dimension. The police even considered the idea that he could have changed his appearance, put on a hat, different clothes to evade the camera on his way out. They had every single person who left the bar that night identify themselves on the footage. Every single person was accounted for, except for Brian. So, how can someone just disappear from what was essentially a sealed room? This question has fueled countless theories over the years. The most prominent one is that Brian met with foul play inside the bar. Perhaps an argument got out of hand, and his body was somehow removed from the premises without being detected. But how? The bar had staff and security, and removing a body from a second-story establishment during closing time, with people milling about, seems nearly impossible. Another theory suggests he found another way out. The building was under construction at the time, and some speculate that he might have accessed a service exit or a construction area. Police investigated this thoroughly. There was one service exit in the back, but it led into the chaotic construction zone. It wasn't an easy route to navigate, especially in the dark, and it's unlikely he would have known about it. Furthermore, any alternative exits would have likely been captured by other cameras in the entertainment complex, and again, no footage of Brian ever surfaced. Then there's the theory of a voluntary disappearance. Was he so overwhelmed by his mother's death that he decided to walk away from his life and start over? On the surface, it seems possible. But the more you look at his life, the less plausible it becomes. He was on the verge of finishing medical school. He was deeply in love with his girlfriend, Alexis, and was reportedly planning to propose to her during their upcoming trip. He left his car, his money, and all his belongings behind. He didn't pack a bag, he didn't leave a note, and he never said goodbye to his father or his brother, the only immediate family he had left. It just doesn't add up. For a while, there was even a strange online theory about a smiley face killer, a supposed serial killer who targeted young, athletic men and left a smiley face graffiti near the scene. While police investigated this, they found no credible link to Brian's case. Every theory, from the logical to the outlandish, has been explored, but each one runs into a dead end, a contradiction, a missing piece that makes it fall apart. Brian Shaffer walked into a bar, surrounded by friends, strangers, and the unblinking eyes of security cameras. And somehow, in a matter of minutes, he left no trace, no sound, no image, no answer. The building where the Ugly Tuna Saloon once stood is still there, though the bar itself is long gone. But the mystery of what happened to Brian Shaffer remains, frozen in that single frame of video from a chilly April morning. A young man, smiling at a camera, about to step out of our world and into the unknown. We may never know what happened after that smile. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as haunting as I do, please like and subscribe for more unsolved mysteries.